want to talk for a minute about I want to talk for a minute about a phenomena I call historical hysteria. Uh, it, I've used the term before, and I used it when I was in Pennsylvania. I talked to you that my nephew Max decided it was a good idea to borrow a friend of his car without his friend's permission and go on an adventure, basically. My sister had just returned from an intense course based around A Course in Miracles to look and see the illusion, and then one of the things was to look and see how the mind has the tendency to connect the dots and always come to a really bad case scenario. And oh my God, my son is missing. And what other minds will do, what other people will do who are involved in the history, will take an event that probably passed unnoticed. And maybe not, it might have been a noticeable event. But then they will take that and they will make it a significant event in the history of this particular adventure. Like I said, my nephew, I don't know exactly what he did, but at one point the family called and said, oh my God, Max was acting so weird the last couple of days. Now, whether he was or not, we'll never know. Whether he was before he left, we'll never know. What we do know is that somebody went back in history, noticed something, and noticed it as weird, which you probably would if you were connecting the dots in a serial event that was not comfortable to go through. Right? So they call it, oh my God, Max was acting weird, right? And he did this, tied his left shoe on his right foot, or something. It could be that simple. But the weirdness has us worried now. Now we're really worried. Now, they weren't necessarily worried up until then, until things started going, life got out of control in a direction that they weren't comfortable with. So then the mind goes back and it connects the dots in this hysterical pattern and says, oh my God, this is what was happening and this is now what's happening. When we finally met up with Max at the family whose house he'd borrowed the car from, and they were justifiably upset. Okay, I don't know how I would have handled it if he would have borrowed one of my cars without my permission. But they were justifiably upset, and that what they wanted Max to know was that there was something wrong with Max. Now, what my sister knew, and I knew, there's nothing wrong with Max. It may have been a little questionable, his decisions, but there's nothing wrong with what he did. He just did what he did, and it upset other people. But the family kept after him. Max, you did this and that worse, you did this, and this was really wrong, and you really need help, Max. You really, really need some help. This is not right, what you've done. And they took the historical hysteria as evidence as something being wrong with Max, until they finally got him crying and admitting that, yes, that he had done something wrong. So I'm going to look at some other hysterical events that people keep running. I'm not sure why they do it, but they seem to keep doing it, and if they want to do it, that's their business. www.micpeakperformance.com